Hey, what's going on? Dr. Zac Watkins here, creator of the Functional Medicine Practice Operating System. And I have a quick question for you. All right, your price is a confession. And most functional medicine doctors don't even know what they're admitting. Okay, so there's three confessions hiding in underpricing your functional medicine services. I want to cover those quickly. Full transparency, I have been here myself, but after 18 years, 20 years building up a functional medicine practice, learning the hard way, making lots of mistakes, I've come to go through the trenches and understand what you've been through. Okay, so there's three confessions that are probably hiding in your underpricing. If you're challenged about pricing your functional medicine services, you're just getting into the practice, you are building this as an add-on service to what you're doing. Let's go over them real quick. Number one, you secretly are saying that I wouldn't pay for this myself. This is probably the biggest killer. When you won't pay for what you are trying to sell patients, if you won't pay for that, how are you going to get everybody else to pay for that? Now, this isn't about stealing from them or trying to get them just to give you money. If it is, you're in the wrong business. You're generally here to help people. I understand that. Functional medicine is difficult and you're doing this to really serve people, okay? But if you sit back and you're trying to price stuff out, because let's be honest, we got to do that. And if you're sitting there saying in your head, you know what, I don't think I'd even pay for this myself, then you are really kind of chopping yourselves off at the knees here because patients can feel that. How are you going to convince someone and show them the right direction if you won't even do it yourself? I've had this experience with team members where we offered different services in the clinic. I wanted them to experience all that we have to offer. They refused not to do it. They said, I don't want to do it. You can't make me. I would never pay for this. How do you charge so much to your patients? Those are team members that didn't get it. They don't understand what we're ultimately doing. Now, I probably take the credit for that, for not relaying the vision very well, but it's a killer. It's a big, big killer. If you won't pay for this yourself, if you won't pay for this for your family, then how are you going to promote this and talk to your patients about this, okay? The second confession that you're probably saying sometimes is, I'm pricing the test, not the transformation. You're so worried about pricing the actual hard costs of the test, where it comes from, the shipping, well, that lab charges about $50 more, so I should probably match it, or maybe stick a little, I'll probably be a little bit under it because, I'm going to get the people who want to pay less. That is another huge mistake because once you make the price about the testing you're doing, you're basically saying that you're a commodity. You can find anything that you want on the line, online anymore these days. Any test kits, labs, whatever it is. So if you're using testing as your gauge and you're making it about that, you're going to lose as well. It's going to be hard. Patients are going to feel it. They're going to say you're just a commodity like everybody else. You can go down the street and get the same. When patients start telling me, you know what, I can go down the street and get the same test for less, that makes me a commodity. That means they don't view me as value. They view me as just another means to get what they want, and they're looking for the lowest price, which to me is the worst way to shop for anything, honestly, because you're just looking for the cheap way. You are pricing for the transformation, all right? And I tell practitioners in this new kind of world we're living in, when there's so much information and so much at our fingertips, you got to price for the community, you got to price for the experience they're going to get, and you got to price for the transformation that they're looking for. If they're looking for this renewal in their health, you need to paint that picture for them, and that is what you're charging for. The transformation, the outcome, what they're going to get because of that, that is what they're paying for. What costs more, in my opinion, is if they don't do that. What does it cost them? More medical bills, more time away from family, more time away from hobbies, regret, all that kind of stuff. So do not price for the, now, when I say you price for the test, it's good to know what your price is, what your overhead is, what it costs for you to interpret, what costs for your team to deliver, whatever it is. But you do not want to undercharge yourself. I've seen doctors, they'll charge the bare minimum of what the test costs. They won't even include their time because they say it's a soft cost, which is not true. And then they wonder why. I've seen about 3 doctors I know personally that have gone out of business within 6 months because they're trying to save money, save the patient money. And I get it. You're delivering a heart forward service and you want to do things as less as possible. Things are not free, and you went to a very expensive medical school, most likely, and you didn't get your education for free. I know I didn't. I'm still paying for it. So let's do what we can to deliver the exceptional care, exceptional service. They're paying for your education. They're paying for the transformation they're getting. Do not price solely on the test, okay? The last confession, and I hear this commonly as well, these are the top three, but the third one that's a big one is saying to yourself, gosh, you know what? My patients can't afford this. They're not going to pay me for this. Who am I that they're going to pay me for this? Or, you know, I know you've done this. You're searching their addresses on Zillow to see what their house looks like to determine how well they're going to be paying their bill or how much they can afford it. Again, do not do that. I generally have had patients in our clinic. We had one whose family was selling their home so their family could come to us to get care. So you need to not do that. You need to not judge them for where they're at. Some people live very frugally. Some people with the most money look like they have none. So that's not the point. Your job is to say, I have a tool and a transformation I can support you with. Let them decide. If they want it bad enough, they'll figure it out. Okay? And may I go ahead and add and say that you, in your mind, saying, my patients can't afford this, they're not going to pay for that, why am I so expensive? I would say that's your scarcity mindset, not theirs. So now you are actually getting in the way of your patient getting well. How does that feel? Not good. You don't want to do that. You are there to provide the exceptional service that you can, right? And if you believe that you can do this, you believe that they can get well, you believe that this is good for their family, for your family, whatever it is, why would you not tell others this? And do not go out of business at the same time doing it. So the confessions, I wouldn't pay for this myself. Change that mindset right now. If you wouldn't pay for this, you probably should not be in this business, because that means you're not going to invest in what you truly believe in. 2, you're going to price more the test and not the transformation the patients get, okay? You got to paint the picture of the transformation that patients are going to get. Ultimately, that's what they want. Ultimately, that's what we want as consumers in many things. How does the new couch make me feel? How does the trip to the Caribbean make me feel? I don't want to pay for the flight and this, that, the other. I want to pay for the experience and how I feel, okay? That's what you're going to get for them. The third thing is thinking that your patients can't afford it. That's not true. People can afford what they want. You got to be the leader that leads them to the right path to do it, okay? So in the end, you're not really selling a consultation. I want you to remember that. You are selling the version of the life that they've been chasing for probably the last 10 years. So the patient who finds the right functional medicine doctor after 10 years of misdiagnoses, expensive medical bills, all that stuff, what is that price worth, okay? Now you got to price that. Price that. So the real cost of you undercharging your services. You're going to attract patients who don't take you seriously. You're going to get tire kickers. Again, I've been there. The thinking is I'm going to lower the price initially just to get more activity, and I'll worry about the messy back end later. It doesn't work. You're going to get a lot of tire kickers, people that don't show, people that waste your time, people that are going to debate you. What's the point? You're worth more than that. You have better things to do. Okay. The other cost of undercharging is you're going to resent the work that you're doing. You're going to be frustrated. You're going to get going. Then you're probably going to get busy because you're pricing so low, and you're not going to be paid. You're not going to be paid because you're not charging enough. And then the cycle continues. So you're going to start resenting the work that you do, and that's no good. We don't want to be there either, okay? You will go out of business in 6 months, and then nobody gets helped, okay? So who are you helping then? And I say that with love because I've seen, like I said, 3 practitioners I know personally, and I know there's a lot more, that going into this with the right mindset, a right attitude, a right servant heart to help people and to keep your pricing very low. I know people that try to be the clinic that says we're the less expensive anywhere. Those never worked. You're not going to help anybody, okay? Take pride in your business. Take pride in the office if you got a brick and mortar. Dress it up, make it look nice. Beverly Hills meets Iowa, that's where I'm at. There's no shame in that. Be proud of that because you've got something that can serve them, okay? So again, the real cost of undercharging is you're attracting the wrong people, you resent the work that you're doing, you might go out of business and then you're not helping anybody, and finally, honestly, your low price is going to signal low confidence. Who wants to have low confidence? Okay. And I know you may be new, you may be setting this up. You've got training, you're a doctor. You've spent many years, hundreds of thousands of dollars, weekend seminars, late nights, the books, the study, and the notes. You have the knowledge. You understand how to serve patients. Be confident in that. But when you start lowering your price too low, it's going to signal to everybody, to the universe, to the patients, whoever, that you don't trust yourself and what you've got is not really that good. And now you're just trying to get people in the door. When I run across offices that say the whole $97 evaluation knocked down from $397, all that kind of stuff, to me, what signals is this clinic needs money and they're not good at what they do and they're trying to just get people in. Okay, I'm sorry if that offends you, but I really believe in charging for what you're worth. Be confident in that, step out and take the leap and do that. Okay, so you got to ask yourself, would you pay for this to get your life back? If yes, stop apologizing for your price. Okay, if no, that's the problem to fix first, is you. Look in the mirror. Okay, so I invite you, if you're starting out in practice, if you're adding functional medicine to your practice, if you're a student and there's so many options of things to learn, how to get going, but you're missing the clinical or you're missing the business aspects, the skills, what to do next, how to do it, can someone help me? What are you struggling with? Comment below. I genuinely am wondering what people are struggling with the most as they're kind of transitioning to this part. So comment below, but as always, I'm always here to help. That's my number one goal, help you where I can to get things rolling. Follow for more. We're going to put out more content like this, and I hope this serves you well.